Brett, we're back with the details this week and going to give some love to a 29-year-old who wasn't on the team to start the season. This is going to be the Kareem Hunt episode.
Yes, it is. He's running well, as we're going to see. He's hard to bring down, running well through contact, seeing things, and I think he's really kind of exceeded any realistic expectations for these first few games.
Yeah, let's talk about. We got 5 runs to go over here, and the first one we talk about. You're going to talk about a little bit of a muddy read inside here for a Kareem Hunt on this play, but still able to get through and still able to get positive yards.
Yeah, this is an inside zone run. You had sent me a statistic earlier, I think, about the number of between the tackles or inside runs the Chiefs have had this year.
Yeah, the most they've had since 2016. So it's been a long time. I believe it's 23 runs inside the tackles against the 49ers.
And we've said it on here before. They're leaning on those 3 interior guys because I mean they're from a all 3 of them combined from a just a production standpoint. It's got to be the best in the league. But yeah, here we're going to have inside zone. Tooney's going to get knocked back a little bit. The 2-eye there does a good job, and that is going to muddy Hunt's read a little bit. But as we're going to see, he's going to trust his technique, which is to push the butt of the center. And he's going to find some space in the backside C gap. As you see it right there, he kind of sees everything, not their front side. And he's able to see that space out his peripheral and get vertical.
And that's pretty impressive, right? To get back to the backside C, it's not his initial read on this particular play.
Right. Yeah. And it's possible he could have taken that front side you see there, but he is able to see that and jump cut and get 6 yards right there.
And this is what we talk about with the Chiefs offense so much. They have the second lowest rate of being stuffed on plays. And so often what's made their offense efficient this year is that they get 5 to 9 yards and they don't get negative plays in run game on run plays. So we see that with Kareem Hunt here is that, maybe this thing could get stuffed if it was a different back, a different running back, doesn't see this hole as well, but gets the jump cut, gets moving forward, and always falls forward, it seems like. So this is kind of what's part of what's going right for the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned the number of negative runs being so low. I mean, that is huge from a play calling standpoint. Not getting yourself in 2nd and 12, or if it's a 2nd and 4 run, you find yourself in 3rd and 6, and you stay out of 3rd and medium instead. So very, very important.
I think we're going to see the same thing here, a little bit muddied up. These 49ers do a pretty good job of kind of holding the line here. What do you see from Hunt on this play, Brett?
Yeah, they do. The 49ers play this well. They maintain their gap integrity. They, at least hold the line of scrimmage, so to speak. You see that right there. Is if you're a defensive coordinator and you're like, that looks okay. But
yeah.
He's able to then, read that play from basically right to left to somewhat be oversimplistic about it, but that's kind of what he's doing. And he's able to get the ball all the way again in the backside C gap, which is harder on wide zone because the blocking angles are different, the pass different. And he's able to run through, I believe it is a safety there, and get 4 yards on a play where you're maybe getting a negative run or a gain of 1.
It was interesting, Brett, looking at the backside of this play. I love when you talk about getting your butt beat slowly. It's a pretty good example of it from Noah Gray, who had a great game against the 49ers, but he gets his butt beat slowly enough to have the Chiefs get some yardage here and kind of does his job, holds his own at least a little bit on this play. That's
it. He's making a backside cutoff block, and as long as he's doing exactly what he needs to do, keeping himself in between, the C gap and the defender.
All right, we'll get to this third one here, and this one is the touchdown play for Kareem Hunt, and this one, we can highlight the blocking on this one too, but also, again, Kareem Hunt falling forward, getting some yards after contact, and another good run for him and the Chiefs.
So this is the Chiefs have run quite a bit of it this year. This is a tendency breaker. And I think I talked about it last time or the time that whenever we highlighted the run game to where when the back's offset to the right, you're thinking, okay, the run is coming to the left there, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be, could be a counter run, could be a zone run left, but they break a tendency here, running the same side inside zone that we've seen. And he's going to use counter steps and chase the butt of the center, and they're going to run inside zone right here.
Yeah, but chase the butt of this guy. He's pretty good, that Creed Humphrey. And
so he really just follows him. And I think he shows pretty good acceleration getting to the second level once he sees that right there. And then obviously running through contact and getting across the goal line.
A couple other small details here. We're going to give flowers again. Fun block for Noah Gray here, right? On the backside.
Yep, he's split blocking. His job is to keep that player outside of
Nick Bosa?
You're cutting off the C gap. Yep. And that's a legal block, which those DNs hate, obviously, when
They
those
don't
guys
like
come in there low
it.
like that. But yeah, that's exactly how you're taught to do it. Keep him from chasing that back down from the backside of the play.
Also interesting was Travis Kelce on this play. I don't know if you noticed him on this one, but he runs a little bit of a route and it gets his guy to chase him and then gets in here and throws a block and kind of is kind of creating traffic a little bit, but able to help Hunt get to the end zone here too.
Yeah, just kind of cutting off that that backside pursuit a little bit.
All right, this one I mentioned this to you, Brett. Seems strange, seems crazy to say. The longest run for a Chiefs running back this year, 13 yards, 1-3 for the Chiefs. But this is from Kareem Hunt, and again, another really good example of the Chiefs blocking and how they're really executing well right now in the run game.
It's great blocking, and I know this is kind of focused on Hunt and his production and how nice of a surprise he's been. But this is really well blocked. I mean, there's about any back in the league could have gotten 10 yards on this play. Hunt happens to get 13. Single back power here. Kelce's going to base out. I don't know if that's Bosa and maybe another defensive end, but he's going to base out. They're going to double team that 3 technique on the front side, and then they're going to wrap Trey Smith around. He's going to follow Trey Smith's inside arm and just get what he can there.
Let's watch it in motion here. Trey gets a pretty good jump on that one too.
Yeah, he gets out of his stance well and gets around the hub, as a lot of line coaches say, gets around the hub and finds that place out linebacker.
We mentioned it before, but maybe not the most acceleration in the NFL, but always falling forward and always going through contact. And Kareem Hunt finishes this thing instead of 10 yards, is 13. So another benefit for the Chiefs of having him in the backfield. Let's get this last one. I know you wanted to talk about this one, and we can highlight a particular player on the offensive line as well. But this is the wide zone, and kind of talk us through what the Kareem Hunt's looking with this one and why he's able to make this play work.
This is one of the rare wide zones that you see at really any high level of football, college or the NFL, that actually goes to the edge. The first rule of defense is to force or set the edge. And the Chiefs actually are able to get this play reached, and he's able to run this ball outside, which, as I said, is very, very rare. Usually that thing's cutting in the C or the B gap and getting vertical.
Yeah, I've kind of heard it described as riding the wave here a little bit. We'll kind of see exactly. I'll stop it as we're seeing Kareem Hunt here. Obviously, he's taking these first 5 steps to the outside, but you kind of have different places you can get to here. And that's what makes this thing so challenging because as these defenders are kind of coming outside and pursuing it, there's potentially different places for you to hit it. But what are you seeing with Hunt's vision here and what he's able to do?
So the way, if you could roll that right back where you paused it, the way that this play is, as I always knew the play, was the back is basically to keep pressing the edge until he's forced to cut. And so he could cut vertical right there off of Taylor's inside and cut vertical off Smith and right between Humphrey there. However, he's staying disciplined with his eyes, with his path, and continuing to take the edge because he hasn't been forced to cut yet. And Kelce actually does a good enough job getting that guy reached, as does Taylor, that he's able to get the edge. And then the corner, who is a secondary force player, if they get outside the initial force player that Kelce was blocking, forces him to cut, then he does. And that's exactly what he does here.
And that's when he gets upfield. And again, we talk about running through contact there, another example of it. So maybe it's sort of interesting. There's so many ways to run the football here, Brett. It doesn't seem like Kareem Hunt might not have the physical tools at 29 that he did a few years ago, but some of these nuances, some of these things, he seems to be reading correctly, and it seems like the Chiefs are benefiting from it.
Yeah, he's seeing things well, and he seems not as explosive. Maybe he's lost a step in the explosive department, but it seems to me like he's a little bit more physical of a runner. I don't know if you would agree with that, but always falling forward, as you said, running through contact and just hard to tackle. Really,
I would say this too, Brett. Right now, with the Chiefs' offense the way it is, without the explosive plays, really, really important for them to turn 4-yard gains into 6-yard gains, 6-yard gains to 8-yard gains, stay ahead of the sticks, and that's what they're able to do. So Kareem Hunt, a big addition for the Chiefs, and obviously making a difference in this particular game. Helped by the good offensive line, helped by the good blocking, but it seems like he's really helping in his own regard this particular Chiefs offense.
Speaking of the good offensive line, good blocking, can we go back to that last wide zone play? We'll point out one block there. Yep, right there. 74. Okay. I know he has had his share of penalties and, holding penalties, false starts, illegal formation, not lining up on the ball. But this is a really, really good job on a good player. That's Nick Bosa there. And he's getting an initial reach there on the wide zone, which is his job. Now, Bosa does he fights over and gets back into his gap. But instead of continuing to keep those arms outside, you'll see him let go. Instead of getting a holding penalty, he then finishes with the backside hand, which I think is an example of possible growth, maturity for Jawan Taylor. And you had shared something earlier with me about his Pro Football Focus blocking grade.
Yeah, he's been in the 40s the last 2 years. He's up in the mid 60s this year. So we talk about improvement and how the Chiefs tend to get better or have their guys get better, whether it's Andy Heck or guys growing into roles. Jawan Taylor's done that this year for the Chiefs. And when you get those three big ones, blocking well, and then a fourth one doing it, that can be lights out for the Chiefs running offense. I think that's part of what we're seeing right now is when Jawan Taylor is blocking well for the Chiefs, they're having really big games in the run game.
And they become one of the best power run teams in the NFL, which I know it's crazy for people that may not follow the team closely because they think, okay, they got Mahomes, they got Kelsey, that this is who they are right now offensively, and they're damn good at it.